Hello, I'm Eddie and welcome at the Curse of Knowledge. Since a while now, we have seen that nations are becoming more and more a police state. Governments worldwide do everything to install technical and digital tools to have complete control over its citizens and have complete access to their possessions. Mainstream media is censored and is only allowed to tell the shiny child stories that authorities dictate them. Social media is censored and fact-checked into absurdity. Even honest news about real events is censored when it does not fit into governmental programs. Authorities are speeding up to force people into lines and punish those that do not comply. With China as the rising power, the West is losing its power. Western weakness and incapability transferred their politicians into autocrat polycrats that are copying China's control mechanisms. State departments checking banks on their lending service, checking all accounts of its nations, companies and citizens. Belgium does now know every bank account, every safe deposit and every asset their citizens own. Not a week goes by that they do not install new laws that are in contradiction with the Belgian constitution. Since decades they are interfering in local matters. Since years they are making new rules and regulations for leisure clubs, motorcycle clubs, car and old-timer clubs, etc. Just name it and the government has interfered. All in the name of environment and climate, while the only real purpose is to gain control and collect taxes. If you can break up or tear up clubs where people are gathering for their common hobby, then that is an organization or club less that can revolt. In the days of communism, gathering was not allowed. When people get together, there is a chance they complain the issues of the day. That can cause rebellion and revolt, and that is what autocratic and communist governments want to avoid. Look at the overdone police force that is used these days on peaceful protesters. Now that is autocracy in action. Beating peaceful gatherings apart to keep control over their political crimes that have caused the protests in the first place. The biggest crime of all is that universities and high schools are indoctrinating our youth with half-lies and unfinished results of science. When I was young, we were prepared to become salary slaves or wage slaves that did the work in the industry and that could be taxed at will. We were prepared to step into a system of economic profit for some and a milking cow on income taxes for the high wages and a political spending of the government. Today, universities and high schools are preparing our young people to become taxable slaves of climate. They have even managed to skip school and protest or demonstrate in favor of future climate taxes, unaware that they will pay taxes according to the scale of their demonstrations of today. The harder they protest for climate, the higher the taxes will be for them in the future. And escape they cannot. They have told governments that they want extra taxes, higher taxes and less freedom. They are asking authorities to chain them in their footprint, force them into food hubs existing of grasshoppers and mealworms. Authorities will hold them to it. It all are lies, trickeries, deceit, scams and theft. The higher deficit grows and the higher national debt will become, the more climate taxes, income taxes and excise duties will follow. Besides higher climate taxes, there will be more valueless jobs. Jobs where people check on people to make sure they follow the rules of their authoritarian masters. It's nothing new. We see it everywhere already and we see it many times in history as well. It is no wonder that society is becoming a dunghill of emotions, absurdities, intolerance, craziness and violence. Not a day goes by that there is no negative news on climate control and national debt control. Banks are eager to fill the open gaps and make sure they reduce the possibility that you can earn a buck on interests. They raise costs on your bank account and offer a minimum of interest and services should be paid for. They will do it all under the guise of high cost for digital service. A one-time cost for installing a digital service where nobody has asked for and that will make us all just members with no personal contact anymore whatsoever. They will have a huge cost to protect the system nobody asked for against hackers, etc. That cost will eventually become higher than when they would have kept the old system, based on a minimum of staff, but where social interaction and personal service were a priority. Only for the reason of avoiding bank runs and misusing people's money, they want us all to pay digital. It has nothing to do with your protection. Banks don't care what happens to you and your cash withdrawal when it's no longer in their possession. If they did care, they would not have their harsh methods of confiscating when a personal problem puts you down on a payment. If they cared for your business, they would not recall loans based on balance sheets of the 2 years of lockdown periods where companies were forced to close by political measure. The authoritarian lockdowns and the "that is not the bank's problem" mentality feels like everything was set up as in a cartel of government and banks. Very likely, I'm not that wrong in my opinion. Today, many small businesses face cash flow problems as a result of unthoughtful governmental measurements. Banks don't care that the public had to bail them out during the 2008 financial crisis. That for them is a normality in what they do not have to be thankful for. A bank's business policy is simple. Steal from customers when all goes well and steal even more from them when the bank becomes in trouble. The political and bank mentality of today seems as if they both have a silent agreement with each other to lock all of us into a total control system. All measurements authorities took in 2008 and 2009 to keep banks under control in their doings was nothing more than sand in the eyes of citizens. While banks and government made new rules and regulations to chain bank customers into full authoritarian control. A system where we have no self-control over our own hard-earned money. It will become an unlivable world for the working class, and the poor will be wiped out. If your footprint does not make money for banks and government, you will not be allowed to live a life any longer. God knows what they have in mind to come up with. It also will be a matter of time before the bank and government cartel will start with confiscations. When all is digital, every wrong step, how small it might be, will cost you. When all is digital, you will pay taxes on the air you breathe and the fart you make. On an average amount of 15 farts a day, you will pay carbon tax. Really? You think I'm joking? Just wait and see. They will suck their thumbs to invent new taxes for each problem created by their own incapability to govern in a righteous way and spend taxpayers' money wisely. In previous videos, we talked already about the protests that have been in Sri Lanka, Holland, Germany, France, Albania, and more. A spark in country A can set country B on fire. In China, where 400,000 people have lost their savings by a cartel between authorities and banks to save the bank from a bank run and bankruptcy. A bank run where people just wanted to retrieve their own money out of the hands of criminal agreements that were made in this cartel. Protesters were given a red mark on their pandemic app, which put them automatically in lockdown. Today, totally and utterly communist BS is going on in the world. Ignited by some BS people that have obviously never worked a day in their life and that are pushing wokeness ideas as men that can be pregnant. We can only hope that these pregnant men cannot have an abortion either in the US. No abortions and no cesareans for men, and a new reality show could be born. That's it for now. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, then give a thumbs up, and for more worldly BS, you can subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.